recorded.
I hope everybody is able to see the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. So, let's begin with a very interesting, question. And the question is dinosaurs. Let's talk about dinosaurs. I think most of us, when we were children, or even if we have children, we've been so, enamored, or we are so taken in by the size of dinosaurs, if we think about it, right? So, अगर आप लोग सोचें, dinosaur was the largest creature to have ever walked this earth, right? There was no other animal that could kill them. Today, these creatures sit in the museum. Can anybody tell me why? What do you think? Why are such large creatures? Why have they moved into the museums today? Feel free. This is an open question. Anybody can answer.
Yeah, that's something we can do. At least if there's one call to action,
Rekha, could you help us with the background noise here?
We just work on making that one.
Rekha, could you help us with the background noise here, please? Yes.
Yeah, Mr.
Anand sir,
Ali,
please,
just
Abhishek
put your
sir,
audio
please.
on.
Please, yeah.
Mr. Abhishek,
Abhishek sir,
your
please
audio
keep your
on
mic
mute.
unmute. Please, I'm requesting you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. So my question was that when we look at dinosaurs, they were the largest creatures ever to have walked this earth. No other animal could kill them. Today, they sit in museums. Can anybody answer as to why? Why do you think such large creatures today are in museums? Feel free. Don't hesitate. Whatever you think. जो भी आपको लगता है कि इतना बड़ा क्रीचर एक डायनासोर आज म्यूजियम में बैठा है, वो क्यों बैठा है? बड़ा सिंपल जवाब है इसका.
Hello.
Adaptability. Yes.
Adaptability because of inhabitability.
Absolutely. So adaptability की अगर हम बात करें, today is the time when we as a race, human beings as a race, are required to go forward and show how we can adapt, how we can become more than what we have been, right? And I'll give you another very simple example. और अगर आप लोगों ने सुना भी होगा that survival of the fittest. So how do we become fit enough to survive? I think human beings are one beautiful species which has this great ability to adapt and move forward. And I think this is a simple yet a very important lesson that all of us need to think in our own space, with our family, with our co-workers, within our business, कि हमें adaptability को किस तरीके से दोबारा अपनाना है. How do we have to think about adaptability altogether? I'll give you a very interesting, photograph here. So if you look at this image, and I hope everybody is able to see, this is an image of a small forest in New Zealand. It's a very small forest, and this forest, क्योंकि हवा इस direction में जाती है, the forest started growing exactly like this. This is not a wind-blown forest, but this is a forest that grows like this because it adapts to its environment. The wind is so high that it started growing in that direction. I think these are beautiful examples around us to really understand what adaptability really means and how we need to relook at ourselves today in many different ways, individually, within our family systems, within our corporate systems, within our business systems, within our social systems. So हमें adaptability को अलग नजरिए से देखना आज के टाइम में, it is extremely important for us. I think the reality as of today is beautifully defined in this image. It is raining COVID in 2020. I think about 5 years ago, हम लोगों ने 2020 को बहुत अलग तरीके से सोचा था. We had very different expectations. But guess what? This is the truth, that we are confined into our homes with minimal opportunity to go out and explore the world or be a part of this world. So this truth has to be understood at a much deeper level and not be considered only as a crisis. What do you think is, the biggest outcome of this? सबसे बड़ा जो एक social change आया है इसको लेकर, what according to you is that biggest social change today that is being seen worldwide and countrywide today?
Number of road accidents have gone down.
Brilliant, brilliant. And aren't we all happy about that? Thank you, sir. Anybody else would like to take a try?
Yes, I am Jagriti this side, and we adopt that we have got a very minimum requirement to live our normal life. Unnecessary, we are running.
That is true.
Unnecessary, we are running here and there.
Yes, yes. This is a reality check. But let's talk about something that affects all of us as of today, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is social distancing. If we understand what social distancing really means and how we can see the future of our life, of our children's life, of our country's life, of our world's life, subscribe to social distancing, then we would agree that the culture, the very human culture as of today, and our terms of engagement have completely changed from here on. And this is something that has to become very deep-seated in our psyche, in our thinking, कि हर एक काम हम जो करते थे normal तरीके से, all of that is going to be regulated by the reality of social distancing. So हमारी journey जो है आज की तारीख में, our journey has transformed. Earlier, our journey was that, acquire an education, take a job, build a family, get money, get your private jet, whatever it is, whatever our dreams were. But as of today, if you ask me, our journey has become only 2 steps. That we adapt, and once we've adapted, we adopt newer practices, newer ways of thinking. And this being said, I would like to actually invite Prabir also into this discussion and actually pose a very interesting question which concerns all of us. Prabir, are you able to hear us? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
So let's discuss this, Prabir, the global and Indian markets. What do you think is actually the current reality on ground, and what do you think has changed for the businesses? Given your background, I think you're actually the ideal person to answer this for us.
Yeah, Aarti, and good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Dr. Sanjeev. Good afternoon, all the participants. Good afternoon, Aarti. And Aarti started off by showing a dinosaur, which is a great example of how a creature adapted or didn't adapt and then became history. At the same time, she showed a picture of forest in New Zealand, which has survived because it has adapted. Now, before we get into adaptation, I just want to say that when Dr. Sanjeev and discussed this topic with me, I said, Sanjeev, I have been through 6 or 7 crises since the 1998. I think my first crisis was the Asian crisis, and I was traveling through Thailand at that time, and I could see the impact of that on industry, on public life, on the economy, because as I was driving through from across Thailand, I was going to Siemens factory in south of Thailand, and everything had stopped working. The bridges, the construction works, everything was impacted severely. And since then, as we all know, and many of you may have also faced several crises, but soon after that, we had the dot-com crisis. I was a CEO of a company, and we got impacted by that. After that was 9/11. After that was the 2008 financial crisis. The
Chaitanya Kumar, can you just mute your audio? Chaitanya Kumar.
Then the 2013 Indian economic crisis, when the foreign exchange, the Indian rupee started going up, and then 2016 was demonetization, and soon after that we started the long road of recovery till suddenly COVID has hit us. So what is the one lesson that we have on this crisis is, to me, Initially, we used to get perturbed. What is this crisis? How will we handle it? What does it mean for us? But the main takeaway I have from all the crises is that it was a break. It was a much needed break and of unexpected changes. Crisis will come and go, and business will be not as usual, but unusual. And change will come, and we will be driven by change. And in this COVID case, that change has affected us immediately from a behavioral angle. In less than 4 hours or 24 hours, our entire behavioral habits, behaviors, and attitude has had to change dramatically without any advance intimation. And you guys will know that for many years we have been saying future of work and industrial revolution 4.0, and we used to think this is something which will happen into the future. Words like telemedicine, telecomputing, tele follow-ups and tele-advisory, tele-counseling was all something which was theoretically in the future, tele-education. Today, all of this is here and working as we speak. This is a form of Zoom. I call it a Zoominar because it's the new form of telepresence and tele reach outs and teleconferencing and tele events. And this was not there before 21st March, where many people didn't know what Zoom is. Today, everybody's downloaded all the apps. So Aarti was saying about adaptation, and then she talked about adoption. So adaptation leads to adoption. Adoption is more permanent. But before adaptation comes a period of disruption, adjustment. Then you start adapting, and then adopting. And then post-adoption, you look at innovation and invention, the next stage. So this is a cycle of from adjustment and disruption and adaptation to adoption. So that's one journey I think we are all on the way to make. But Aarti, if you can go to the slides on what impact that this COVID has had, is that as we all know that COVID had a dramatic impact on our economy and our industry. And I always call it like a steep, grand, big cargo liner going in the sea at full speed, and suddenly it hits a brick wall. And that's exactly what has happened. Within 1 month, the entire, not only our economy, the world economy has taken a huge hit. Indian economy has been hit by about 4%. The US economy is hit by 5%. And this corresponds to about $160 billion hit just in 1 month. So you can see the nature of the industries affected, and we all know it actually. We're working in many of these industries. A lot of our clients are from these industries, whether it's automobiles, pharma, organized and unorganized sector. Like WASME is a very large component of that and is a backbone of India from that respect. Obviously, consumer and packaged goods, FMCG, telecom, airlines, travel, hospitality, the list can go on and on and on. But every crisis is an opportunity with a silver lining. So whilst a large amount of industries have got hit, a lot of industries are doing pretty well actually. For example, the video conferencing in business has never seen anything like this before. So now telecomputing, telepresence has become big. E-business has become big. E-commerce and hyper-local delivery has become very big. Pharma is seeing a huge hike because of the various medicines and sanitizers and masks and all that industry is seeing a huge uptick. So there is a silver lining for many industries, and some industries are having a tough time, so they will need to adapt and adopt. Some will continue to prosper, some will probably die off. And in the last week in a presentation at WASME, I heard someone saying that 30% of MSMEs might actually find that they are no longer relevant in the new scheme of things. In the new normal, they are not relevant. So the next slide, Aarti.
Sure.
So even in the business that I am with, the payments business, there has been a huge downturn, as you can see across all types of payment methods. There has been a decline in the number of transactions and the value of the transactions in the last month or so. So while the payment business and the fintech business or the business finance business has been doing pretty well since demonetization and seeing good growth year on year as Indians have got used to doing their payments online on their phone digitally, and that behavioral change was slowly getting into our bloodstream. Now we notice that even a sector which is growing very fast has suddenly declined and is a symptom of the decline in the overall business and economic trends in the country. So as I said that times like this are an opportunity for many, and though one can look at all the negative things, there are a lot of positives. As I said, some e-commerce businesses are doing well. Over the air services are doing well. Netflix, Amazon, they're picked up. Many companies have moved to groceries and home delivery, which was not earlier in their portfolio of offerings and products. So opportunities are there and we should not be fearful. It's a time to grasp ideas and take them forward and not be scared or fearful and hope that the old normal will come back. Unlike the previous crises, the old normal is now more or less finished, and the new normal will continue to be defining itself as they go forward. And people who can adapt and adjust to the new normal will be the people who will be able to maximize on this opportunity. Slide, Aarti.
Yeah.
So again, just to give how the nature of this trend of change is happening. The nature and trend of the new normal is this is evidence of what it is looking like. A lot of front-facing sales and customer experience jobs have been lost. Secondly, is operations and engineering jobs are also got very dramatically affected. So these were earlier core functions in any company. You would be happy to lay off HR, marketing, strategy, but you would not be touching your operations and engineering, or maybe you would not fiddle too much with your sales, and certainly you will not fiddle with your back end, customer support and all, but all those are getting dramatically affected. So many of these functions will have to change the way they work. They will get more automated, and Aarti will talk to you about that. A lot of automation will happen, a lot of remote working will happen, a lot of telepresence work will happen, which will make the same people have to adapt to new way of doing things. Their skills are not going to change. Their skills are very valuable, but the way they deliver those skills will change. So I think that is a couple of key takeaways that I have right now. Just to bring in Aarti again. Aarti, you've heard what I have said, and I think people will want to know from an individual perspective how can they adapt and adopt,
Sure.
and what is your learnings or your insights and your list of items that they should factor in to take that and then run with that.
Right. Megha, could you help?
Zulur sir, I would like to request you to keep your mic on mute. Zulur sir, our vice president. Hello.
Right. Prabir, thank you so much for actually giving us those insights, and they are very relevant. The one thing I liked what you said was that the new normal is going to demand that we change a lot. And I would like to, dwell a little on this slide that we are showing. If anyone can sort of give me an answer, which area do you think is the least affected in this particular pie? Which area do you find? Which area do we find the least impacted here?
Product design.
Product design, right? So when we look at product design, that in itself has to offer so much of strength that every other piece, if you look at sales, if you look at customer success, engineering and operations के बारे में थोड़ी देर में बात करते हैं, but if you look at both these areas, as of today,
e-commerce is also less.
Yes, yes. So if you look at both these areas, this is where most of the automation, most of the aggregation is happening. So I'll give you an example. I have consulted for a lot of healthcare and pharma companies, and particularly their sales staff. And I always ask them one thing, कि आप जब जाते हैं एक हॉस्पिटल में, पहले आप उससे गेटकीपर से बात करते हैं, डॉक्टर तक पहुंचने में आपको कम से कम 15 दिन लगते हैं. So why should you become any important when the doctor can go online and look at the 10 medicines he wants to select from and just click and purchase? So what is the relevance of you as a salesperson? And this is a reality. ये अभी थोड़ी देर में इसके बारे में हम थोड़ा और बात करेंगे. But if you look at customer success, the customer does not need to be serviced as of today unless there's a customer problem. Servicing is client servicing or customer success. So customer service has actually adapted itself by way of the customer becoming more aware. Rather than my half-baked salesperson or customer service rep from my company goes out and talks to a well-informed customer, that market has also altered. आज सब लोग घर पे बैठ के सब चीज उनके हाथ में है. It's on their palm. So which means that we need to look at the strength in our initial idea, which is your product. So clearly, this is asking us to rethink many, many things, right? So there was another research done by, I think one of these guys, Bloomberg or somebody, and they said that by 2025, almost 80% of the front-facing jobs stand to be to become irrelevant in the face of automation and aggregation. So it is time that all of us think about where we stand and how is it that we are going to upgrade ourselves. I have two insights for you here. One is, let's look at the consumer, our market, the value chain. इसमें हमें क्या insights मिल देंगे? If you look at the first one, thinking behaviors. I think Prabir touched, the right point that the behavior is something that is going to be the biggest word around industry, both service and products related. And this is where organizations, especially जो micro organizations, small, medium, MSME, all in all, have to rethink that what behaviors are we feeding, what demands are we feeding, and how should our products and services show value in terms of health, in terms of utility, in terms of community. So if you look at the luxury industry, it's totally died out as of today. अगले 4-5 साल तक the luxury industry cannot surface, right? And the reason we are going to talk about examples from non-MSME is because these are the influencers of our time. These are the people who set the tone for things to happen. And clearly, for one simple reason, कि कोई भी आप large organization देख लीजिए, वहाँ पे जितने लोग होते हैं, they are all formally trained. The biggest drawback in MSME as of today is, and if I were to quote some figures, as per 2012, we had about 480 million, workforce, out of which only 6% was upskilled, as against first world or second world countries, जहाँ पे वो figure है 50 to 60%. So clearly, our flaw or our drawback as MSME does not lie only and only in the absence of working capital as of today or government policies as of today, but it lies deeply in the fact that we are not formally trained either ourselves or in our environments that are managed, right? So looking at the second piece, health focus.
Anybody uses it every day on a everyday doable basis. So just talk about it, make a list. Either in your friends and like I said, people who pray.
Megha, Sangeeta, if you could just help me with this background noise going here.
praying. I'm not saying
I'm
that.
trying to do that. Anand sir, please help me out. Keep your mic on mute. I'm requesting you, sir. Anand Sinha, sir.
Just take up
Hello.
those 5 minutes, calmly sit down like a
Anand
competent
Sinha,
So
sir,
I will
please
try.
keep your mic
I will
on
try
mute.
and talk over this noise. Then what else? We don't want to lose time.
exercise with needs that the brain should be active. So just
Okay.
Anand
So
Sinha,
health
sir,
focus.
please keep your mic on mute. I'm requesting you once again, please.
like I said, 5 minutes is good enough. Just repeat these statements again and again, and you will see that there will be opportunities created for you where
I believe people are doing multiple webinars at the same time. That's interesting. So moving on to the health focus, I think हमारा जो जितना भी product range है, our reach to the market, the communication that we are sending, the language that we are speaking, it has to be aligned with the health. As of today, everything. If I go and buy, anything from the market, I am concerned about its impact on my health, my family's health, people I work with, on their health. So this is a mindset shift that we need to understand, both in terms of organizing our workspaces, in terms of identifying our product and services portfolios. What is the impact in terms of its presence on the well-being for self, for family, friends, consumers, staff, community, even planet.
which is about the next big
Moving
thing
on
is
to the
not
third one,
but a
selling
great
and
way of
buying
mind.
shift. I think somebody mentioned that e-commerce. I think most of us, हमारा जो इस time supply का जो तरीका था, जो selling का जो तरीका था, that is going to undergo a big shift. So right now we have e-commerce platforms for finished products. We will also have, and in fact, from the Indian MSME sector, it has to come up that we have aggregation, or we have e-commerce platforms for even raw materials. So, and I'm sure that the government is also working in that direction. But this is an area for all of us. If we look at the next piece, workforce value. As of today, हमारे पास limited labor pools हैं. It is up to us. How do we draw maximum value out of the workforce that we have by offering them flexible work schedules and which are divided between home and office as far as possible. If work cannot be done from home, you have a unit or you have a business which cannot deliver, where the workforce cannot deliver from home, then you need to have a staggered schedule. जितने लोग अभी काम करते थे, you have to stagger that to actually meet the demands. And this again calls for the rethink कि हम लोग क्या सिर्फ product market में छोड़ रहे हैं, or are we actually contributing to the building of our economy and our people? That is the expansion in our mind shift that we need. Let's go to the next one, supply chain transformation. How many times are we actually sensing the demand in the market? What are our methods of sensing demand in the market? What are our methods of saying this is where we can innovate and optimize? यहाँ पे cost cutting हो सकती है, यहाँ पे quality बढ़ा सकते हैं. How do we align our supply and our network? How do we align that with this vision? I think the one thing we all under MSME in India as of today is develop a vision for our work. Last one is the secured ecosystem. So ecosystem is something that all of us have to start migrating to. We cannot operate as individual entities any longer. We have to start curating our partner network. So working with partners through crisis to create thinking, feeling system of collaboration. So if you ask me, and I've been doing this for the last 10 years across industries, that boss, do not think only about competition. Do not only think about what are you able to achieve and what competition exists in the market. We have actually ignored such a big opportunity for the last 10 years. Instead of collaboration, we are focused on competition. So this is the time to reinvent yourselves and look at कि आप जो product develop करते हैं, the product that or service that you deliver to the market, how many other players are there? Can you actually create something bigger than what you've been doing? So this is the first insight. And before I continue, I'd like to invite the participants, in case you have questions, in case you have lingering thoughts, in case you'd like to, present an experience at this point before I move on to the second insight that I have for you. Anybody, feel free.
Yeah. Excuse me, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can.
Yes. We have Mr. Julur Rahman from Bangladesh, our Vice President. Let's welcome him.
Sir?
He can have some questions, sir. Mr. Rahman. Are you there, sir? Mr. Rahman? Mr. Umar Shankar, can you just mute your
He's
audio?
there only, but I think he'll not able to listen us. But he's there in the
Okay.
video call. Yes, we can
Okay.
see him.
Okay, you
Yeah.
hear me, everybody?
Yeah.
Please?
Yeah.
Let's
Yes,
have
we can
this.
hear you.
Yeah. It's my great pleasure.
Yes.
It's my great pleasure that I'm meeting with my friends of India.
Wow, good, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
Okay.
Good to have you. Good to have you on this Zoominar, and please feel free to ask questions even if you are far away from us. I'm sure the problems and the solutions will be somewhat similar.
No. These days, what I can say, the universe now not far. Now everybody